Sources are telling ABC News that right now authorities are carrying out searches at properties associated with P. Diddy. This is all part of a federal investigation into human trafficking. They also say that this investigation has been ongoing now for several months. They add
several months. Now we got our brother Solomon, brother from another. We did our last broadcast not too long ago. We usually do not do Mondays, but due to some pressing information and a couple other different things that I definitely didn't get to cover last time, I had to go ahead and do one tonight. So what's happening, brother?
Oh, man, just trying to gather everything that's been going on here with Diddy. It's pretty serious, man.
Yeah, when you I was just working and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on. And then when you texted me and you told me about it, I kind of had an idea. I kind of knew what this was. I said, okay. Now, I'm going to put my stance right off top, as I was talking to you earlier about it. We talked a couple weeks ago about it. When I see things like this happen right off the rip, I don't just jump up into the, well, he used to rip off his artists and blah, 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 and this, that happens. Automatically, my spidey sense goes up and says, yeah, maybe, maybe not. But at the same time, this seems like an R. Kelly moment. Now, I'm not excusing of what happened. I'm saying this looks like the perfect setting for the black brute complex. Oh, you Negroes is robbing and raping and this, that, and the third. And, and here's the thing. If they could make a new R. Kelly, they could just let a lot of the white sex predators go to the wayside. And then you were asking me like, well, do you think he'll go to jail or whatnot? Anytime the Fettuccine Alfredos, that when the feds come in, they've been watching you a while. They didn't just trip up on this information, whatever they're saying he did, whatever evidence they're looking for. I mean, man, I'm looking at this stuff right here. They got all kinds of armored trucks. Let me play a little more audio.
Our sources that an arrest does not appear to be imminent at this time, but what you are looking at right now is live video of one of these searches being conducted. Now, this is a search that is happening at Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles home. This is in the Beverly Hills area, so you can see a tremendous amount of law enforcement present there.
Now, they said L.A. and Miami homes. So I just want people to paint this picture. We're not pocket watching. But, nigga, if you got a home in L.A. and you got a home in Miami, oh, yeah, you're doing it. So, yeah, so they're what they're doing, man, is there's something I think a little deeper. Could he have been involved in some of this stuff? He very well could be. The thing is, man, as Professor Black Truth says, when white supremacy's done with their tools, they break them. When they're done with their tools, they break them. So what they're going to do is they're just going to keep chopping off at his legs. Now, had this been $100,000 or $200,000, $300,000 nigga, you know where he would be right now. You know exactly where he'd be. He'd be sitting in a cell somewhere. It's harder to fight cases outside than inside. And when you were telling me something about a report from TMZ that he was jumping on a plane or whatnot, I'm hearing other reports that he's not on the plane. Now, if he was smart, whatever evidence he had, he would have put that on a plane and shipped that somewhere. This is like the ultimate villain getaway plan. And like I say, I'm making my stance. He's innocent until proven guilty. Because what happens, a lot of times is this, man. People will say, well, I just didn't like him. And I got to give credit where credit is due. This man is a mogul. He brought a lot to the New York game. Now, if you're going to separate the business from the pleasure, well, you're going to say, okay, if this dude's doing some predator stuff, but see, they're not going to release all the information about that for a while. That's going to be a minute until you start hearing some stuff. They're just trying to raffle him up. They got his sons. I don't think they brought them to jail. And if they did, they're going to, like I say, a lawyer, they're going to have some lawyers that's going to say, shut your damn mouth. Don't say anything. But they had a raid, which means that somebody gave some kind of information. And if he didn't, if we want to be conspiracy theorists, and if he didn't do none of this stuff, it's a damn good way to break a black man down to where you're like, hey, nigga, we want the masters. You know, we want your media outlets or something. Because it starts like this. Reputation is everything. If, for example, you have a business. If somebody was going around on the news and just said, oh, well, this Solomon did this, and oh, you know, it was some kids involved and blah, blah. Man, your reputation is everything. You see what I'm saying? If somebody, you know, especially being a black man, if you a black man and you making 100, 200, 300 a year, you didn't do that. You didn't do that by accident. If you're a black man and you're a millionaire, you didn't cheat. You might have scammed here and there. You didn't cheat. You don't get to that level by just BSing. You don't get to that level by playing around. You did that for real.
And Puffy was a millionaire at 19.
Right. I want to point that out. So, you know,
but sometimes, hey man, when you know, people think that there's something called universal intelligence. It's not necessarily the truth. Just because, like, you see athletes getting in trouble and you go, man, what's wrong with this motherfucker?
Right.
But you got to think, you know, because in life, it's like when you got one trait that you're really great at, a lot of times there's going to be a trait that you're not thinking about that you're not good at. And a guy like him, he might have had an eye for talent, you know, a promoter, this and that, but he thinks with his dick. You know what I mean? And hey, put it to you like this. We all know the feds don't waste no fucking time.
No, they don't. They're not playing
They're not bringing all this. And they cheat. They know when they show up, they already know they already know what's up. That young lady, Cassie, and the manner that he hurried up and quickly paid her, I think that sounded some alarm.
It did, because and see, here's the thing. That was not a criminal case. That was a civil case, but that's why Crump is so successful. When you're in a civil case, that opens up evidence where you could bring forth a criminal case. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, like, as much as we look at Crump and be like, okay, he's just getting another, you know, it's another black body. He's just trying to make a check and stuff like that. And see, the thing is Crump will disarm you. He'll sit up there, and when you hear him talk, you be like, man, this nigga got a degree? He's far from dumb. People think that he's he's just,
I don't know why anybody would call him dumb.
Some people would hear him and be like, man, this nigga don't, you know, no, he's that.
He
that
might
nigga,
be a lot of things, but dumb ain't one of them.
He's not dumb. He may not sound like no Harvard scholar, but Crump knows what he's doing. He just disarms you. What he'll do is when you got a member of your family and something happens to him by the police, he'll show up in a Cadillac, put his arm around you. Well, you know, Mrs. Solomon, we gonna take care of it. You know, he gonna talk real slow. You gonna be sitting there listening to this nigga like, but his mind, his wheels be thinking. He's very cunning. Like he's very cunning.
You won't see the feds pulling moves like they did today unless they already got this. You won't see Crump milling around something unless he knows the bag is guaranteed.
Speaking of the feds, we all know what happened with Malcolm and Martin. The feds, man, they spent their whole career. Actually, the FBI was, a lot of people don't know this, they were built off of investigating foundational black Americans. the J. Edgar Hoover building, that whole J. Edgar Hoover, he made his whole career. He hated blacks with a passion. He hated blacks so bad that he based his whole career on investigating and surveillance. That's what a lot of that stuff was about. And I'm not just talking about just people like me or you or Malcolm and Martin. And he was investigating celebrities. Put it like this: any black person that wasn't a super coon that might have put some money into the movement, oh, they were on your tail everywhere you go. Every show you were at, it was like the hip hop police. They would check your mail. They would, they'd be on you everywhere you went. Now, if you was a coon, you didn't really have nothing to worry about. You were like, okay, he's inconsequential. He's gonna tap dance. But if you was like a real nigga and you was putting some money up, like, okay, there's a ride in Montgomery. There's a race ride in Montgomery. The race soldiers are beating up kids and spraying water hoses. And we just gonna lock a bunch of black people up and kill a bunch of black people. Lock them niggas up, and then I go bail them out, and I'm somebody like James Brown or something. Oh, they watching. They like, oh no, we gotta watch this nigga. He's a problem because he's not a coon, and if he's not a coon, he's a major problem. We gotta watch this dude, and if we can't get no charges on him, we'll put something together or whatever, So they spend, like you said, an astronomical amount of time in surveillance and just watching you. And usually they have most of the evidence before they just come to get you and see what you gonna say. And they're like, all right, nigga, look, we got an indictment. This is what we got. Here's a discovery. And you looking like, damn, they've been at me. Like this whole Young Thug thing. And we'll get back to this Diddy thing real quick. But as a segue, the prosecution has some janky ass people on the damn thing. This case looks like it's kind of falling apart, but they have so much damn audio. I was listening to it the other day. They have audio and evidence, and they got all kinds of stuff. If they don't, put it like this, if they can't get a conviction on this, they just sloppy as hell, because they have enough federal informants, and the informants ain't got to be telling the truth. They just got to get on and say some bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So, this case right here between Miami and LA, man, they might have spent $200-300, maybe $1 million on this raid. I mean, an armored truck, how much that cost to bring that out? $40,000 to get a SWAT team out there. That's another $100,000. It's a $500,000 just to show up.
But that goes to tell you that they were informed that there was weapons in there, and lots of weapons in there.
And you know what? Rightfully fucking so. If I was Diddy, nigga, my shit will look like John Wick. I mean, you're a billionaire. You're gonna have some weapons. You're gonna have some armor guards or something. I mean, you got to move like that, man. You got to.
This is what I know about, like, police raids on things on that level, because I had a good friend of mine who was a real big time at one time in Las Vegas, and he got popped, and he had been deemed armed and dangerous from prior incidents. So when the police rolled up, they rolled up similar to that, and tanks, and ready. Yeah. Now the young lady, she made some accusations against him. Cassie, she made some very serious accusations.
Yeah.
Before he paid her.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's another thing too. See, the civil suit, now you got to think, reputation is everything. But what would you rather do? Pay this little broad $20 million, or keep going back and forth where she's basically trying to break your pockets? Because you got to keep in mind, she was with this dude for about a decade. So you're not going to be with this dude and hate every second of it. She probably was sitting back like, okay, I'm with this broke ass white man now. You know what I'm saying? Diddy done cut me off, or whatever he had her do, or whatever. Like, she still misses the lifestyle. Because if it was about justice, she wouldn't have. No check could have paid her for whatever he said she did. But she's like, well, hell, I'm about to take this nigga. I'm just going. Maybe she had some tapes, or she had something to where he was like, man, I don't want to deal with this tarnishment of my name because people may think I'm freak nasty, or it could have been stuff with dudes or strippers or whatever. He was like, man, just take the $20 million. Because see, now, if he would have just went to trial, here's the thing. She didn't really want to go to trial either. because all the little freak nasty shit that she was doing when it came out, she was like, okay, I don't want my husband to know that I was, because you got to think she's not clear and innocent in this either. She, come on, man. She's not. She probably did some stuff where her husband's looking at her like, man, what did I marry?
Well, you know what it is she. See, the thing is she left him for the personal trainer that he hired for her.
Right, yeah.
So his thing is he's butthurt about that. He's not even thinking like she's about to come back on me and try to get some money. He's thinking, man, this bitch just left me. He's on that level. He's not. He's left himself open to, is she gonna come, get me? And the thing is by her being with him for all them years, that's not gonna hurt her because she's gonna say that he held her career over her.
Right. Yeah. And guess what? There's other things where if other people come out, it's all kinds of little weird allegations about him. So it's just. All it would take is her, and it takes a couple other people. You're a black man that's a billionaire or whatever he got. It doesn't matter whether you did it or not. Just people saying that, it doesn't look good, because now you got to keep on they said they didn't rip me off with my record deals and all. I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff. You look like a bad dude. And the mistake he probably made, what happens with a lot of these Negroes that get a bunch of money, man, you get bored. And sometimes, like idle time's the devil's work. You get bored and you can start doing shit. And you get into all the vile stuff in Hollywood and all that. And man, like I said, to get $1 billion, I'm not saying he stole a ton of money from people. But man, you're gonna rub your elbows with a couple demons and devils, man, when you get to that level, bro. That's just part of. I think that's just part of the game. You're gonna meet some of the best people in the world, and you're going to be dealing and messing with people, the most heinous people on the planet. And what would have been a good look if, but see, he might, I don't know. He could have gotten married to somebody, or one of his exes, whatever. If he would have gotten married, look at what happened to Cosby. A lot of black folks supported him. They knew a lot of them broads was lying. I mean, they literally have documentation of them making up lies, bro. But remember what Cosby tried to do. What did he do, bro? He tried to buy NBC. And he had the money to do it. The race soldier said, whoa, wait a minute, nigga. We'll pull out them old files. You was kind of freak nasty. Cosby was smart in a way where, and see, that stuff was over and done with. But what they did is they conjured up a bunch of broads to basically say, oh, well, this happened 40 years ago. I mean, you don't even remember what the hell happened. But they knew that this whole Me Too bullshit, which actually one of their co-founders was accused of sexually assaulting a child. That was very interesting. One of the women was accused of sexually assaulting a child. That's one of the co-founders of Me Too for you. But anyway, Cosby was married. So his wife can say, hey, hold on, I support my husband. Black folks stood behind him. You got foundational blacks in America standing behind you. You gonna win anything on the damn planet. If we get behind you, you might go to jail a little while, but you get some niggas behind you, you got this. You got this. But Diddy is in a situation where it's not a ton of people speaking against him because he has some kind of power, but he's not really I don't think he's doing tons of stuff in the music industry. He got the media platforms and stuff, and he still has the music stuff. But, he had his time. He's still a mogul. He's still doing his thing. But he had his time, and he probably didn't build up enough allies where folks could look at him as, okay, this is a super stand-up dude. The people that made him the most money, you're not really hearing them say much. So silence is something. It's kind of like if somebody says, well, ADP, Solomon got arrested for a pipe or whatever. And then everybody says, well, oh man, he got arrested for a pipe and he got a business. He shouldn't have that. I'm not going to be silent if the news asks me, well, what do you think, DP? I'm like, man, this nigga was a successful businessman. He might have had a hiccup, And I'm gonna change the narrative when I get on the camera when I'm speaking about you, because I know what kind of guy you are. I'm gonna say, nah, he's a good dude. You're not hearing that everywhere. So the fact that people are silent about it, maybe he might have cut some throats or rubbed some elbows the wrong way and was very arrogant against people, to where they just like, man, I don't really want to say nothing, but I'm not gonna support him. You know what I'm saying? So
he has a long history of ripping off artists.
well, that a lot of the artists are saying that. You mentioned some people, and I know that there was a thing where he wanted to clear that up, because he was like, okay, the Locks, they got their royalties and all that, and I don't know who got what. The thing is I used to remember I went to IPR, I went to music school, and there's things called cross collateralization royalties. If you're an artist, you're not gonna get a good deal. Fresh out the gate, you don't have enough leverage to demand a good deal. If you ain't somebody like, like how Master P was, or Tech Nine, or if you wasn't like a Freddie Gibbs, or you wasn't like I'm trying to think of somebody, man, that they didn't come through just a straight major deal. And I want to cover a lot of that music stuff that we were talking about too, because that's kind of pertinent to our conversation. One thing that
you have to have record labels that are bidding for you.
Right. You got to be, for example, I'll give a couple examples. Now, I think Tech Nine was on some early. I think he was on some early independent labels when he was kind of doing his thing. Eventually, he got with Travis O'Goon down in Kansas City, Missouri. And they decided to work together. And I guess he invested some money. And then, they came up with Strange Music. And he toured and he toured and he toured and he toured and he toured. Probably a decade later, whatever, this nigga got a warehouse. Name a rapper that has a warehouse. I don't even think Jay-Z and them got a damn warehouse. Not to say they can't buy it. I'm just saying that you've never seen. Then people may look at him and be like, "Oh, this weird nigga with he got a, what I'm saying, he kind of strange looking, and he got They would just look at him and be like, "Oh, I don't know who that is." That nigga's a behemoth. He's a giant in the independent. You see what I'm saying? He was touring like James Brown. Nobody probably toured more than Tech Nine. And you don't hear him on the radio all the time, but when you look up and you're like, damn, these niggas got their own buses. They got their own warehouse. They control their own clothing. And they literally, when you know how some people say, well, I'm independent. A lot of times them dudes have parent companies. They might have a label, but they're under like a major, one Vivendi or Universal, whatever. They may have a distribution deal with some of those. But I'm talking about independent for real. I'm talking about them niggas literally pressing up their own CDs, creating their own clothes. They have their own studio. They have a warehouse about the size of a football field. Like they are independent for real, for real. His record deal's not gonna be like, one of these little guys that be on Spotify and stuff like that. And you're not just gonna get a deal because you can rap good anywhere. You have to, like you said, you have to show, a lot of numbers and streams. You got to kind of have your own thing. Like, that's what one of the pioneers that did that. And I got to give credit where credit is due, is Chief Keef and Soulja Boy. They jumped on the internet. They didn't have a deal. They just took the internet and started posting their videos, and then eventually that's how they got a deal. You see what I'm saying? They didn't have a record deal. They had a lot of fame, and they had the kind of attention that money couldn't really buy.
Right.
And people can say what they want about Chief Keef, but he kind of, right or wrong, he kind of pioneered. He was a pioneer of drill. All these niggas is rapping right now come from his pioneering. He made it possible to where you don't have to necessarily if you're an internet sensation, you may not have the biggest deal, But you know, you got a couple million views, man, on YouTube, and millions of views here, and millions of views there. Well, now the labels is like, you know, the internet is the streets now, bro. People don't watch the news. Like this audio we just played right now. That is the internet. That is the news. That is the media. The media is now online. So somebody like Keith, this dude's 16 years old, coming out of Chicago. You see what I'm saying? They probably didn't really think, these kids probably didn't really think at the time, when he's 16, 17, they're not thinking like, oh, well, man, I'm going to be doing a record with 50 Cent in a couple years. You see what I'm saying? They weren't, I mean, they were kids when they started. They were literally 15, 16. This nigga was on house arrest when he got his deal. You see what I'm saying? And so,
who was that?
Chief Keef. He was on house arrest when he got his deal. So these, like I say, these were some.
Now, is he alive or is he dead?
No, he's still alive. He left Chicago. He couldn't stay. He was too big. He got to the point where he was way too big, bro. He couldn't stay in Chicago. He wouldn't have been alive if he lived in Chicago. And a lot of times, what those guys do when they start, you know, the drill thing got so big to where, you know, the world wanted to know about drill, and then, you know, it got if you listen to New York now, New York don't sound like Griselda. It don't sound like Jay-Z or Nas anymore. It sounds like Chicago. It's just the beats and the production is a little different. They use a lot of UK based drill, but Chicago is always, they've always pioneered a certain kind of sound. Now, drill is really slow down Memphis bass rap. Drill is dark. Memphis is dark, slower, and heavy laden on the drums. Memphis beats. It's just slower. You see what I'm saying? It's slower and it's darker. Now, Chicago pioneered it, but if you want to really go back to, okay, where did that sound come from? The sound came from 3 6 Mafia, the Player Fly, 8 Ball and MJG, preferably 3 6 Memphis. And if you listen to every record that came out right now, it all derives from Memphis. They just never give Memphis the credit. If you listen to trap music, Gucci Man, T.I., any of that stuff, it derives. Now, Outkast was a little different, so it wasn't like, you know, they had like a different. It was more like Organized Noise did a lot more soul kind of stuff. So it was, but when you get something like T.I., Gucci Man, and Jeezy, they would have been the Trap Kings. That sound came from Memphis. It sounds a little different in Atlanta, but that sound came from Memphis, man. That sound came from Memphis. And then New Orleans had its very own sound. It was completely different. More bounce, happier sound, kind of. So
they the last that Diddy's been seen, he was at the Miami airport pacing.
He was thinking. So he probably was out and about. Because a lot of times them dudes, they don't always be home. Or he might have been in the neighborhood and somebody might have been like, hey, nigga, there's a bunch of armored, you know. He might have known something too. Like, I mean, because like I say, if you done did some of these things or whatever, you know they coming at some point. They coming. You know that. You know at some point they're coming. People already been saying stuff. But like, as we can see, they said they've been looking at this for months, and then they get spring up on you. So he probably would have did the same thing as any smart man would have been. You know, you're not going to take me in. Then I got to bail out. I'm not giving you $2-3 million to bail out.
Right. They're going to freeze. But see, the thing is the with the human trafficking, that's very serious, and it's not very hard for them to prove. Now, if the young lady is saying that he took me to different states and forced me to do things sexually, that's trafficking.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's all it takes. And you know, here's the real reason. And I'm I'm not saying trafficking is a good thing. But here's the real reason why they call it trafficking. They changed pimping to trafficking to punish black men. Now, white men can traffic people. Epstein and all them dudes and Einstein, or not Einstein, but Epstein, all them dudes, they've been trafficking. But they didn't call it trafficking. They they took pimping. And now, the pimp game, if you pimping, they like, oh, you trafficking. And you're like, no, I'm pimping. No, nigga, you trafficking. These women are selling
outside of state lines.
Yeah, you're. I mean, even inside of state lines, they still. If you say, "Well, I'm a pimp," oh, nigga, you a trafficker. You see what I'm saying? That's the terms. It's like the RICO. Like
but there's no pimp. Yeah, because you're right. Because there's no pimp that just stays in one state.
Right.
When that blade dries up, you go somewhere else.
Even if you willingly, if the women say, "Hey, no," you know what I'm saying? I'm a stomp down hoe for this nigga. I'm doing this out of my. Oh no, you trafficking. They're not
hard without the hooker. No, without the hookers, without the hookers' testimony is hard.
Well, okay. Put it like this:
somebody, for a pimp to get caught or charged with trafficking, that means a hoe got busted.
But they can indict you if you have a website.
Oh yeah,
you see what I'm saying? They can just say they can just say, because that was a big thing at one point. You know, the Craigslist thing was real big or whatever. But you know, like the whole trafficking thing. Because think about this. White men have been doing this forever. Actually, should we really go? Should we go there? Should we really go and talk about where the first trafficking was at? Let's bring up the transatlantic slave trade, nigga. That was trafficking. That was there wasn't no bigger trafficking that built America. America wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for no trafficking. It wouldn't. America would not stand as strong as it is and influential as it is as a world power if there was no trafficking. They trafficked black folks from Africa, stripped them of their name, stripped them of their heritage, and basically said, all right, you a new nigga, you African American. Nigga might say, nigga, I ain't African American, I ain't never been African. Nigga, you African American, I gave you that name. A white person probably came up, they probably told Jesse Jackson and them to say that, but a white person came up with that like, nigga, you African American. And I'd be like, well, no, I'm a freeman, I'm a descendant of the slave. Nope, nigga, you African American. And so I say, all right, well, Elon Musk is African American. They'd be like, oh, you know what? He's more African than you, DP. Elon Musk was actually born in Africa. See, you ain't never been to Africa. Then they might tell you you're something else. So race soldiers could just label you. And see, that's what they did with, if you heard about what's been going on right now with the Native American reservations and shit, tribe, $5 Indians. You get a white dude, he marries into the tribe, and then he just says, yeah, DP, I'm Indian. I'm a Cherokee, and I'm looking at you like, no, you're white. Well, I'm white, and I say so. I said that I'm Indian, nigga. And I'm like, no, I got Cherokee folks. Some of my folks had some Cherokee black folks, you know, a couple generations ago that were actually on them. He'd be like, no, quantum blood law, nigga, you ain't getting nothing. You ain't, no. Yeah, we reclassified Negroes, but no, you ain't getting nothing. We kicking you out of the tribe. You ain't getting nothing. And then you looking at this white dude like, this nigga's not Indian at all. But they done got it to where, like I was telling you before about them, that those minority grants and stuff by a lot of them minority quote unquote, where the white women getting all them grants. You got folks that ain't got no ties that's getting big millions because they didn't figure out a way to scam their way into, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, like, you know, yeah, trafficking, the biggest trafficking was in the United States of America, man. Transatlantic slave trade. They trafficked niggas and made niggas work for free and told niggas you ain't never going home. Then, you know what's crazy about it? You know what's crazy? What really cracks me up is they'll say, well, oh, you know, you niggas need to go back to Africa. I used to hear white dudes say that all the time. And I'm like, I ain't never been to Africa. That's how you gonna tell me I go back? You can't deport me. I'm from here. Where am I supposed to go? Well, I want you to go back home. It's very interesting. You didn't colonize the damn place. You're the one getting all the money out of it, but that's trafficking. So, but this case, man, anyway, this case, the smartest thing for him to do was jump on that damn plane and fight it from wherever you at. They might try to freeze his assets. They do little stuff like that. So you're going to start seeing them do stuff to him because he's black. You're going to start seeing them do stuff where you're like, wait a minute, this nigga ain't even convicted yet.
Yeah, but he's one step ahead. Well, charges are coming here soon.
Oh, for
Once
sure.
they go through whatever evidence they got here, Diddy's going to have two choices. Either stay in the country that won't extradite you, or come home and fight this case.
Well, yeah. I mean, at some point he'll come back if he's out of the state. And see, that's the thing with, you know, and that's what I want to talk about. When you're a black man, your money really, really got to be long when it comes to situations like this, and they know that too. So, you know, we can't pretend like this ain't. If this was Billy Bob, it will be a little different. I don't remember. I'm not sure, but I don't remember Weinstein. I mean, let's look at the audio real quick. But I don't remember. I don't remember even Weinstein getting the treatment that we're getting ready to see Diddy get.
Around that home. So this search just began here. There's also, as we understand, another search being conducted on the other side of the country in Miami, because we are hearing from Homeland Security that there are investigations going on using the assistance of HSI Los Angeles and HS.
Now, this is Homeland Security. I want folks to understand they're not playing around. Homeland Security. You got some of the highest levels of government, man, at your crib.
And all three of your cribs.
So wait a minute, not just Miami and LA. Didn't they say New York?
New York, Miami, and LA, all with armored trucks.
Man, okay, so how much does that cost? They're not there to play. That's
$300,000-400,000.
I think more than that. I think it might be $1 million damn near.
They got some info of something on one of his computers or something in one of them properties.
And they came to just confiscate what they know that's there?
It could be something is similar. It could be like Cassie could say he had a red dildo that he used to force in. It could be there's a certain place in his house that's got a trick camera. It could be anything. They could be going through the emails to see who he's emailing. If he's emailing one of the dudes that he was forcing her to fuck.
Anything.
You know, what was he telling the dude? You know, there's a multiple different. They ain't just coming there for one thing. Because they're not looking at him for one thing. He's being looked at for trafficking. He's being looked at for sexual misconduct with the producer.
I heard about a shooting, too. What's this thing about a shooting?
Well, I know that Cassie had accused him of him and his son blowing up Kid Cudi's car. And then there's something about him and his son and some guy going in the bathroom and he shot the guy. And then, yeah, there's his old bodyguard is talking about it.
Well, and then remember I told you, I think it was about 7 months ago. Maybe it may not even been that long. I don't know. But you was telling me about, what do you think about this Keefe D thing? I said, look, bro. If that nigga had anything to do with or knew about any of that stuff in LA, it don't matter how long it is, somebody's gonna get squeezed. Keefe D start talking. He's an informant. Now, this is just the beginning. Just like when I told you about this Candace Owen thing, they just getting started. They just getting started with you. They're not. This ain't something that. This ain't gonna be something, bro, where we just look and be like, oh, he'll get paid off and it gets done. No, it ain't gonna work like that.
Oh, hell no.
No. These folks are out for blood. They chopping at the bit because he has the kind of money and resources where he could make somebody go away and he could pay a lot of stuff. I mean, he got big money. So what do we got to do? Look what happened to Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson, I think he was strange. Do I think he touched them kids? Hell no. But nigga, you shouldn't have been in bed with him or whatever they say he did. I don't think he did anything to them kids. Don't matter. They wanted them royalties in them catalogs. I don't think I ever talked to you about that. Do you know Michael Jackson owned half of Sony's catalogs? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know that he owned the Beatles and Paul McCartney and all that and some other shit too? That was too much power for a black man to wield.
Yeah, but they didn't. But the Sony, Tommy Mottola and all them, they didn't force him to be having sleepovers with minors.
No, but you got to think.
If you're a DEA and you're hearing about some grown ass man having all these sleepovers with kids, you're gonna investigate that shit too.
Right, but they didn't give a fuck about that, bro. They wanted the masters.
But his stupidity opened the door to that.
Now, if it wasn't for the kids, it might have been something else. They was gonna get that. They was gonna get that publishing. Best believe, bro. They was gonna get that publishing. And mark my words, what I say. Whatever assets he got, Biggie stuff, the masters or whatever, that's gone.
What do you mean it's gone?
That's gonna be gone. Watch.
And what's changed?
Give it a year and a half maximum, if not in the next 9 months. You're going to hear probably a Chinese-based or maybe a Jewish-based company where you're like, damn, I ain't never heard them before. That's going to say, all right, Diddy, let's cut a deal. And then we like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Why would he sell his... Watch. Somebody...
Oh, you said he's going to sell it.
Oh, they gon' yeah. You giving that up, nigga?
In need of money? You think he'll be in need of money and sell it, or
what it is you we gonna break you. Oh, we got another sex charge. Okay, that's an okay. How much is a lawyer? This is a federal case. This is a federal case, bro. They're just getting started. They're out for blood, nigga. You're black and you're a billionaire. We break our tools. We're done with you. We have no use for you anymore. See, you thought you was going to ride off into the sunset like a billionaire white man. That don't happen to niggas. Especially black folks that is into some weird shit that they get involved. R. Kelly is in jail because that nigga ain't got no money. Nobody really gave a fuck about what he did. Some of them parents done gave their kids up. The managers, the record, everybody knew what he was doing. Everybody in Chicago, nobody give a damn. Them niggas in Chicago probably been talking to young girls for years. That old color purple shit been going on since the dawn of time. Don't nobody give a fuck. But once he couldn't pay nobody no more, and he wasn't hitting them platinum plaques and stuff like that, they said, all right, yeah, you gotta go. Somebody probably called him up like, hey man, you gonna give me another 40, 50,000 a month? Keep this quiet. He was like, man, I don't got. He's like, hey, no, go cash in some of them royalties. That nigga was probably, man, I can't read. Okay, guess what? Tape coming out. I bet you some of them girls' parents was calling that nigga up, extorting him. Yeah, you want to fuck my daughter, nigga? You gonna pay me another $200,000-300,000. I bet you. When you started
getting real big into making music and selling DVDs.
Yeah.
Where was Puff Daddy's career at that point? What was he doing?
Well, when I was doing like the mixtapes and, you know, the Smack DVD, all that kind of stuff, and remind me to talk about the Smack stuff and, you know, like, and all that stuff too, because that's very important in some of the things, because we're not just going to talk about just the case, we're going to talk about like some of the accomplishments and things too. I remember when No Way Out came out, I bought that album. I might have been, I don't know how old I was, but No Way Out came out in 97. So we probably were, like in 8th grade or 7th, 9th grade or whatever the case may be. I mean, Bad Boy was big then. Like, now, granted, Biggie, I think Biggie was passed by then, but when Biggie died, he was worth more dead than alive.
Right.
Diddy became the
Most people
star.
are.
Diddy became the star. So when we seen Diddy, we seen all the tight beats and all the kind of stuff like that, and he was releasing Faith Evans, and I mean, like, Bad Boy was a force to be reckoned with. You had Bad Boy, you had Death Row. That's what you had. They were the leaders of the rap game. Now, around when Bad Boy and Death Row, when they had everything on lock, Murder Inc. wasn't just up yet. You see what I'm saying? I think Irv Gotti and them were probably still, whatever they were doing, they might have been managing or whatever they were doing, they were still getting their stuff together, and they didn't really start coming out. Ja Rule came out in 99. And then you had Ashanti and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So they were knocking off hits, hit by hit, left and right. Bad Boy, I don't remember a lot from Bad Boy except for like Black Rob in like 99, 2000, which was that Black Rob life story was a shit. And then you had G Dep and them later and stuff. So around that time, you had Rough Riders. Remember when the Locks, they went on a campaign to get off of Bad Boy because they never really wanted to be in them shiny suits and stuff. But when they went to the Rough Riders, man, that was a dynasty. That was nothing to be played with. Rough Riders and Rockefeller around the same time were doing their own thing. And Cash Money was on the come up. So when Rough Riders came out and, and then, they start having the mixtapes and stuff like that. I mean, man, that was a force to be reckoned with. So, like when I was making mixtapes and stuff like that, I remember I had my first little CDRW, I think in 98 or, maybe around 10th grade or something like that when I was working at Cub Foods. And they only burned CDs at 8x a time, like 10 minutes a CD. Napster was around, LimeWire was around. It was a good time, man. Like, Bad Boy was it. Them mid 90s, the 96, 97, when P Diddy had Faith Evans on there. He might have had a couple extra verses with Biggie on it. Mace was triple platinum in 99. I never really cared for Mace that much, but he went triple platinum. He sold like double or triple platinum. And, so Bad Boy they were doing good, man. They were doing real good. And Bad Boy, you got to think, Bad Boy kept going at it, and then Shine came out in 2000. But Bad Boy kind of had it. Death Row started kind of crumbling because remember, Suge Knight fumbled the ball. He was on it all kind of goofy shit, and there was so much gang stuff involved in L.A. and all that. I think with Death Row, Pac was gone. Snoop left and went with Master P. Snoop really didn't start getting real money until he got with Master P. You know that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, at what point did you start hearing about the gay allegations against Puff Daddy?
I don't know, man. That probably happened way, way, way later. Like, that was like, we never heard about that stuff really like that. You didn't really hear about stuff like that to the internet. A nigga said this, said that. You're like, I don't know, But then, once you start seeing little weird stuff, like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Drink Champs or it was some, when you start seeing like when he was, like, I seen a clip with Fabulous and it was Diddy or something, and it was just real uncomfortable kind of shit. Like, you're like, okay, this don't look right or whatever. And then, the internet, when the internet got bigger and bigger, because, the internet really didn't start getting, it didn't really start picking up where we were just like, oh, okay, because I don't even think I sent you a clip of a video, bro, until like the last couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had the internet. I watched YouTube, but you got to remember, man, we were still open to, like you hear about stuff like, Fox and CNN. And then, like, especially, we come from Minnesota. So this is a very blue country, I hate to use the liberal right wing. It's the same bird. It don't never work for black folks. But we look at CNN and be like, oh, okay. And then when we start kind of looking like, damn, they talking big shit about Trayvon. You know what I'm saying? They talking, and then we got on the internet and we hear stuff about what happened to Freddie Gray. And you hear Obama's ass talking shit. Then he's making little slick comments about the water in Flint. And you seeing like, well, what's up with these niggas, man? You know what I'm saying? We started kind of putting patterns together and realizing, man, we surrounded by a bunch of coon ass type of shit. You know, so the internet kind of started, we started to kind of see and peel back the layers and be like, okay, yeah, these Roland Martin ass niggas, they kind of funny style. Yeah, we voted for this nigga twice and he's talking slick about Freddie Gray. Pull up your pants and all this kind of bull. We like, okay, wait a minute. Y'all niggas is operating like the white supremacists. The internet became a thing where we could pull up receipts. We could start seeing people's coonery, and not just music, but we could start seeing real live receipts of niggas' coonery and niggas' treachery where it's undeniable. So I think what happened with the internet was some of your favorite rap artists and your favorite dudes, it gets to show certain things where you're kind of like, damn, I didn't know this nigga was like this. You held some of these folks in a higher regard, but now the internet made it to where they can't really hide. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't hear about that stuff till later.
What about the beating of artists?
Beating like beat up like physical or like deals?
No, bad deals with artists because he's had so many artists speak out against him.
I heard about that earlier than the internet was real. You know, when I first heard about that, I had bought a book by a brother named Mark Curry, and he wrote a whole book about dealing with the devil.
He's a former member of Bad Boy.
Yeah, remember they had the Hitmen. The Hitmen was Stevie J. It was a D. Angeletti. It was a whole bunch of people. When you look back at them credits, I used to buy all the CDs and look at the credits. Who mixed and mastered it? Oh, Bernie Grundman used to mix and master this. Oh, this was Mike Dean that used to make all the beats for Rap A Lot. You know, I was really, really into that stuff. Like, I'd buy the album just to see who mixed and masters some shit. And I remember seeing the Hitmen, but I didn't really know who they were. I didn't really know who Stevie J was until this Hip Hop Atlanta bullshit. My wife used to watch it, and sometimes I'd watch it with her, and I'm sitting there looking at this like, man, what is this bullshit? They got niggas looking real ratchet on here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was a big thing in the last 7-10 years. They make niggas look real ratchet. And then you start looking at a lot of the folks that are on there. A lot of them folks ain't from here, bro. The lady that founded it, she from Haiti. And you're kind of wondering, like, man, if she was back home, they would never let her do no shit like that. Did not talk about her people like that. You see what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out in perspective. I'm just trying to, you know, real is real. So you know,
Mark Curry made beats.
Mark Curry produced. I think he sung and all of that. So you had a lot of these folks that pretty much, like I was telling you, he's not like a Dr. Dre. You see what I'm saying? He's a producer where, let's say I come into the studio, right? I'm in the studio. He probably played the piano a little bit or whatever, but 9 times out of 10, nigga, you on the keyboard, you on the trumpet, you on the beat machine, nigga, you over there singing. I play the beat, and I hear it. Oh, no, put a little bit of that in there. Oh, you rap this way. Okay, I'm rapping. Like, remember when Nipsey Hussle was doing the victory lap? He played the record for Diddy because, like I say, he knows a hit. And he was playing it for Diddy, and Diddy was like, man, let me play something for you. Nip was like, man, Nip, you know, he played it for him because he knew he got the ear for it. He's like, man, I want you to, because at first I think he was going to have, Nip was going to have Diddy executive produce the album. I think that was the plan or something like that because he respected his ear too much. And, you know, Diddy, we talking about music now. Diddy respected the hell out of Nip. Like, man, this young nigga, man, selling $100 CDs. He done took over LA. He's doing his thing. So of course he wanted to, as like a rap elder, he's like, hey, I'm gonna lend my ear. And he said, all right, look, I need you to listen to this. And he went and he played Natural Born Killers with Ice Cube and who was Natural? Was it Ice Cube and Dre? I think it was Ice Cube and Dre.
No, Tupac and Dre.
Are you sure?
Wasn't it? Oh no, that's California Love.
Okay.
Natural Born, yeah, that's Ice Cube and Dre.
He played that for him and he said, look, it needs to sound like that. Because when he played it for him, he said it ain't got the you need to add more layers. You need to make it sound. So he said that's the standard. That I ain't nothing like you other rap niggas. And so as soon as he did that, and his team put that's why when you hear it, it got so much energy. You see what I'm saying? Then there was another record, and he had Diddy on there. Diddy was just saying take that and yelling, and he was just screaming on it. But he put Diddy on that one where Nip was talking about how his brother Black Sam buried $100,000 in their backyard, and when he dug it back up, it had mold on it. You see what I'm saying? So Diddy was just kind of listening to this shit, and he was just like, "Oh, I got to get on that." So you know how Diddy be all hype and stuff like that. He was keeping the energy of the studio. He was just really turning up, making everybody in. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain energy. So when you hear that record, you're like, I think they sampled P&B Rock, and that's why that record sounds like that. Because Diddy was back there doing his ad libs, and he was just really, you know what I'm saying, just giving that energy. So if you're a young dude like Nip, and you got somebody like Diddy in the studio with you, you a good artist, but he gonna make that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows what it sounds like, so he ain't gotta play no damn beats. Nigga, you make the beat, you rap. Oh no, do it over again. You be in there probably all night with that nigga. Now do it over again, Solomon. Do it over again. You like, damn, man, I done did 50 takes. That's it. Say it just like that, nigga. Say it like that. Put an ad lib behind it. We got a hit. Press it up, mix and master it. That's going platinum. He knows how to do that. You see what I'm saying? He knows how to do that.
He has an ear for talent.
Yeah, he's a hit maker. That's why I said I got the hit men. That's that song right there. Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear, hit. That's a hit. That's a hit. You know what I'm saying? He knows what a hit is. He makes hits. He don't make none that ain't no hits. But he doesn't actually make any beats. Man, hell no.
And what about his bars, his lyricists?
Man, he probably don't rap none either. He probably could say, all right, nigga, you write me something.
So so that whole album, Victory, he didn't write any of those bars.
Man, he probably didn't write none of that shit. He might have wrote a little bit, but it was probably somebody with bars, ghostwriters. You probably had a bunch of niggas in there that got more bars than him. You ain't got time to be sitting there writing. You making hits. Hey man, write me up something. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, all right. Now I'm going to go in the booth. Now, how you say this? Well, say this and just put your Diddy in it. Put your Diddy in it, and that's what he does. And he knows how to make the hit. He ain't got to rap good. You see what I'm saying? And you can be listening. That's why a lot of the records, they sounded good. But, when you really, really listen to the nigga, you be like, man, this nigga can't rap. You see what I'm saying? So he'll probably have people ghostwrite. He just can't rap. Okay, for example, Master P. Master P ain't no Nas, and he's never been trying to be a Nas. Master P is a nigga from New Orleans that came from the Calio projects from the ghetto that's trying to make a hit. That nigga don't give a fuck about no damn lyrics and, oh man, I want you to rewind it back. He's making some stuff for the ghetto, and I'm gonna make a hit. And I'm trying to be independent, fresh out the trunk. I want an 80-20 deal, and that's what he went and did. Master P's not trying to wheel no damn lyricist lounge. He's trying to make a successful record label and get wealthy so he can have other artists and put other niggas on, and so he could get rich as hell. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, now let's do a timeline here. The day of Biggie's death.
Yeah.
What do you estimate Puffy's net worth was? Let's say the day before Biggie died.
I mean, he was a millionaire. He was already, he was probably already a millionaire.
So you would consider him a multimillionaire?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, now what about, did his career grow after the death of Biggie?
It wouldn't have grown without it.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't Diddy. Put it like this: Biggie gone was worth more than Biggie alive. Now Biggie would have kept making hits, but you remember, Ready to Die, Life After Death, very very creepy titles when you think about it.
mm-hmm.
He would have made more with Biggie gone. Some people don't like that statement. He would have made more. Nigga, I got all these old Biggie verses. I could just jump on there and say, take that. I could just do some little bullshit ass raps. And then I could just say, oh, this is my brother and all blah, 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 and R.I.P. and all that. Nigga, you gonna make way more.
Now, who owns the master to Biggie Smalls?
I probably his mom, or maybe Diddy probably owns it. You know what I'm saying? And then he it's probably some big record labels that might own a little piece, and then maybe his mother might own some of it.
Did he pull the Fat Joe? You know what the Fat Joe is.
Well, they
when
said
it comes to that.
Yeah,
Fat Joe gave it back, but there was an asterisk to that. Fat Joe gave it back after he bled it for how many years?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, he created Pun. He gave Pun, because Fat Joe was already somebody in the industry. It wasn't like he was a nobody, but he wasn't like Pun. But he wasn't like Pun, and he knew that. And
Joe discovered Pun.
Man, Joe put him on. Hey, Pun, I'm gonna get you this chain. Put this chain on, nigga. I'm gonna get you this deal. I'm gonna walk you in here. We gonna sign this shit. Pun was just a street nigga, probably. Pun was just a street nigga before that. You see what I'm saying? So, and Joe was probably too. You see what I'm saying? Now, he says he never was, but Joe's not stupid. Joe said not too long ago, I heard him, he said, nigga, I'm just a street rapper. I just made all that shit up. He's not stupid.
You see in the RICO.
Yeah,
and then they're going back to your lyrics.
They'll go back to your lyrics. They'll do you like Thug, which is actually unconstitutional, but that don't mean anything. Niggas ain't under the Constitution, so they like. Oh,
now, what did 50 Cent say when he featured on the 6ix9ine song? I am not gangbang. I am not gang. I do not gangbang.
Yeah.
He said he's like, I already seen a RICO in his future.
Well, years ago he said, I'm not a rapper.
Like, I'm gonna have it on tape, right? He's like, I don't. He's like, you can hear the song. He's like, I am not gang. I do not gangbang.
Do the same thing they did at one time. They tried to sue him for a bunch of money, man. That nigga said, man, all my jewelry's fake. I rent this shit.
Does 50 Cent? Now, where does he tie into this? Because the same way Corey Holcomb kind of opened the door to a lot of stuff with Bill Cosby. Because a lot of this had just kind of went away. Then Corey Holcomb kind of opened the door to a lot of stuff. Same thing with 50 Cent here with Puffy. Where does he tie in to Puffy's career? And where do you think the downfall might have came from?
Nowhere. I mean, you got to think Master P funded 50 Cent's first tour. You know that? He ain't got nothing to do with Puffy. It's just, if like I said, 50 is the kind of nigga, man. What'd he say? He said, if I ain't selling no records, I'll show my dick. 50 gonna make sure that his name is where it needs to be. You got to think, he used to hang out with Trump. 50 invested in vitamin water and stuff like that, man. He's gonna make sure, man, that he's in the mix and he gets some things going. And 50 smart. When they tried to sue 50, 50 was like, nigga, I'm broke. I rent all this jewelry.
Really? You lied?
Yeah, he said, nigga, I'm broke. I ain't got no money. He said, I'm a broke ass rapper. I ain't got shit. And then he showed his receipts like, damn, I ain't got nothing. But see, the nigga smart. His shit be under LLC. Like I say, he used to get his game laced from Trump. Right. They can say what they want about Trump. Trump gonna lace you. If you around Trump gonna lace you with some game. If you can't be around Trump and be dumb unless you stupid as fuck. Man, give me 24 hours around Donald J with toupee, man, and I'm gonna be rich as fuck. Cause he.
So what you're saying is, 50 Cent is Puffy's never done anything directly to him. He's just seeing this as a way to get back in the news.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just having fun. He's just trolling. It ain't really nothing. It ain't nothing serious. He's not. He's trolling. You know what I'm saying?
He says he's working on a documentary called Surviving Diddy.
I mean, he might, but you know what I'm saying? He might.
That's not trolling though, DP. That seems like there's some personal.
Well, that's not it's not personal. It's just fair game. It's just kind of like, okay, nigga, you got your roll on, I'm getting mine. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when people always got your name in the mix as you done did something to them, and it's a whole bunch of people back to back to back to back, you know, 50's just looking at it, it's like, okay, nigga, I'm gonna stomp you when you're down. You done stomped other niggas when they were down. You done stomped other niggas when you're down. That's allegedly. So yeah, now I'm gonna get you too. So,
what business did 50 Cent? Did he do any business with Mace at one time?
I think Mace was supposed to sign the G Unit for a little while or something. I don't know, man. It wasn't nothing that, you know, he ain't paying no mind to
I was
it.
trying to do some private investigating here to figure out where the beef came from. Because now 50 Cent's on record is saying Mace is now worth $2 million with $2 million in his pocket.
Well, I'm looking at something right here where, and this is on December 10th, 2023. I just did a quick Google search since we're on the subject, where 50 Cent posts a year-old Mace freestyle containing lyrics aimed at Diddy. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, Mace has been taking shots at Diddy this whole time.
Oh, so so this is real what you're talking about. Is this really serious? That 50 Cent says proceeds from Diddy documentary will go to victims of sexual assault.
Yeah, I told you he's coming out with a documentary called Surviving Diddy.
Oh shit! Oh man,
that's being personal.
Oh fuck! Oh man, this is. Wait a minute.
And that's what opened up a lot of these allegations got fresh again. That's what got Cassie the kind of nerve to try to sue.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm gonna and see. Remember, like you said, this is the genius of 50. 50's gonna make whatever makes a dollar. He's gonna make something out of it. He ain't gonna let no data, no information go free. You got to keep in mind, he's a film producer now. So see, he's coming from the standpoint like, yeah, nigga, I'm talking slick, but nigga, I'm a movie producer for real. You know, he has some of the biggest movies. Like, you know, I be watching that BMF, that Power. Those are one of the biggest shows on TV, bro. They're the big, you know what I'm saying? And so
that's all his stuff, right?
Well, yeah, I'm a film producer. I run the show. He put it like this: 50 right now is what Diddy probably would have wanted to be when it came to TV. TV is, you make more money with TV than music. You know what I'm saying? Like, TV's where it's at, and not necessarily just being the star. But there's money behind the scenes, directing, cinematography, royalties. There's a lot of things. So he understands a lot of that stuff. He understands, and you know, it's pretty damn good. Like, it don't look cheap and bullshit. Like, now, one thing I don't like, a lot of the episodes with Power, there's a lot of LGBT stuff in there that I didn't think was necessary. But I think, you know, but other than that, the writing is pretty good. It don't look like this, you know. Okay, I've been critical of this for a long time, and I know that white folks own BET right now, but by now, I feel like BET, the movies, because you got a lot of smaller outlets, independent films that are sonically, or I'll say cinematically, superior. And BET been around for forever. Now, black people don't own it no more, so we got to take that with a grain of salt. But production wise, the quality should be a little bit better. So, you know, I used to always hear black folks always say, "Well, man, there's only a certain budget and this, that, and the third." I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. They got Canon 5D cameras for less than $5,000 that's being used in $1 million films. It should be much better quality by now. And that's just a critical outside view. I'm taking an objective point of view from that. Now, 50's cameras. He used like, what have you heard, red cameras and stuff like that. And I mean, his stuff don't look cheap. It looks like it came straight out of $1 million film. You know what I'm saying? So, and I remember he used to do like them little B-listers. People used to laugh at him like, oh man, 50 Cent doing these little B-listers with Bruce Willis. Man, that shit add up, bro. Like, he just kept doing that stuff. Him and Bruce Willis got a bunch of movies. And he just kept doing them little movies. We used to call it Guerrilla Films or G-Unit Films or something like that. And now you know it, man, this nigga got stars. He got the major TV shows, and that's a revolving check, bro. That ain't just a theater and it may flop or whatever. No, people go to see this. BMF is very, very big right now, and it's damn good. You see what I'm saying? BMF is about as close to what I would have thought that, because you know BMF was a big thing in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Years ago, they were the biggest kingpins in the United States at one point in time. I mean, them niggas used to actually like they used to do crazy shit like bring strippers, pay all the strippers all the money in Atlanta, and they'd have tigers and shit up in there. I mean, shit looked like the damn Nas, the Nas and P Diddy video. Them niggas was big, bro.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, 50 don't really got no allegations. He probably just keeps clear. Not to say that they won't try to get him too, but what I'm saying is, for him to be a rapper, he don't look at it like I'm a rapper. He looks at it like I'm a mogul. You see what I'm saying? He had Tony Yayo, he had G-Unit. For him to take, because you got to think, they used to write him off back in the day. When he got shot all them times back in the day, remember he was with Columbia Records, and he had that album, Power of the Dollar, How to Rob an Industry Nigga. People wrote 50 off. They just thought he was just going to be like a gimmick. And 50 went to them mixtapes. And that's how he took over. I was listening to, before 50 ever signed to Dr. Dre and Eminem, I was listening to 50 Cent when he had the Power of the Dollar album that got shelved on Columbia Records and never came out. He had Destiny's Child. Remember, Destiny's Child came out in 99. They were superstars. Mm-hmm. He had Destiny's Child on there. He had, I think, that some of the Hitmen. Let's go back and look at this real quick before we get back on the subject. Power of the Dollar. You got to think, when 50 Cent came out, yeah, that came out in 99. I remember that because I used to see it in the Source magazine. Now listen to the guest appeal. This is history, y'all. Now, it was recorded from 98 to 2000, and it got released as an EP, unreleased. It didn't really get. Now look, it was with Trackmasters. You remember Trackmasters?
Yeah.
All right, now Steve Stout, Trackmasters. The members was Poke and Tone. Now Trackmasters. Let's go back and look at history here. They made stuff for Destiny's Child, Nas, R. Kelly, Cool J, Mary J. Blige, Will Smith, 50 Cent. Yeah, they had a lot of. I'm gonna just go to a couple songs that you may be familiar with. Okay. With Trackmasters, and we're gonna go in the mid-90s. So, Ready to Die, Biggie, produced by Poke from Trackmasters and Sean Puffy Combs. That song, that Juicy song, that was one of Biggie's hits. Trackmasters did that. Okay, now let's keep on going. They did a couple songs. Who Shot Ya? That was one of Biggie's biggest ones. That was a big, very, very well loved. LL Cool J, Faith Evans. Okay, Foxy Brown. They did a bunch of stuff on her first album, Il Na Na. They did a bunch of stuff on It Was Written. You remember the album intro, The Message, Street Dreams, Watch Them Niggas, Affirmative Action, Black Girl Lost, Shootouts, If I Ruled the World. That was by Trackmasters. Okay, they did something for Shaquille O'Neal. They did an album with Allure. AZ Pieces of a Man, that was good. Mary J. Blige, Share My World. Mariah Carey, Jay-Z in My Lifetime Volume 1, The Firm. They did a couple records off The Firm. They did almost a whole album with Will Smith, Big Willie style. That was a big one. Brian McKnight. Cameron. Remember his first album, Confessions of Fire, Horse and Carriage, featuring Mace. That was Cameron's first big hit. Horse and Carriage. Now, R. Kelly. Trackmasters did a bunch of stuff with R. Kelly. N-O-R-E. You remember how much I love that album, that Nori album? They did that. Takao, Method Man. That was another great album. Makeups to Breakups with D'Angelo. You remember that? They did that. 98 Degrees, Black, 50 Cent Power of the Dollar, Ghetto Quran, Money by Any Means. So they did How to Rob an Industry Nigga. And so on. They did Tupac, Nas Lost Tapes, Jay-Z, R. Kelly, Best of Both Worlds, Tyrese, R. Kelly and Jay-Z's second album, Tamia, The Game, Ludacris, Keisha Cole, Jamie Foxx, Lil' Kim. Man, Trackmasters made a lot of hits, man. A lot of hits. So back to that Power of a Dollar. They were on Trackmaster. 50 Cent's Power of a Dollar was on Trackmaster's label. Now, he had Destiny Child on there. He had Nori. He had Bun B, Dave Hollister. Now, everybody that did beats on there was Trackmasters, Red Spider, Shaw Shelf, DJ Scratch, and Eric Sermon. So this was going to be his big hit. You see what I'm saying? And then he got shot. You see what I'm saying? He got shot a whole bunch of times, but then he kept putting out the mixtapes. Dr. Dre and Eminem heard about it, and that was all he wrote. That was it. You see what I'm saying? So 50 took the internet, he took the mixtape game by storm. He put G Unit on, got his own clothes, just like how Rockefeller did it. Remember, Rockefeller did their clothes. Rockefeller clothes was big. You see what I'm saying? So G Unit clothes was big, and he just kept going. Vitamin Water. Then he got into movies. You see what I'm saying? So I've seen Diddy act a few times. He was all right, but he didn't have the movie film game like 50 had, because you could tell 50 that's what he really wanted to do. Get rich or die trying. And even I noticed something too. A lot of times dudes start falling off with their music when they start doing other stuff and movies and all that. Even his Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack was off the chain. It had some hits. It had some good stuff. So, and even to this day, he can get a pretty good crowd going on just for the love of the music. You know what I'm saying? So, he don't have to do it anymore. He ain't got to make another record in his life. But, 50 was smart about the way he did things. So he's looking at things as an opportunity. That's what I think. That's what I believe. I think he's looking at it as an opportunity. Let me see what else video they got.
SI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. We do understand that they will provide us with updates as possible, but this goes into multiple allegations against Sean Diddy Combs over the years. There have been several civil suits against him as well, including human trafficking, all of which...
Now, they said multiple civil suits. Now, what happens with some of these civil suits is it can bring up criminal evidence. Through a civil suit. Sometimes when you hear about some of these cases where race soldiers kill black folk, and a lot of times when they do this, other race soldiers on the force will hide evidence. If you ain't got no evidence and everybody's basically either lying, and another thing the black folks got to understand, they think, oh, well, these people sworn to uphold the law, they won't lie. Man, these people will lie through their teeth on the stand. They'll tell people like you and me, well, that's perjury. Don't lie. Don't lie to the judge. Don't lie to the jury. They will get on the jury and they will lie their asses off right in front of everybody. Put their hand on the Bible and will lie straight to your face as a law enforcement officer. They've always done that. They do it all the time. And you'll have a situation where you'll be like, all right, well, this is a criminal. We're trying to bring criminal charges. We're trying to get some pressure. Well, you'll go get Crump and you'll say, well, look, this has been going on. Like what happened when he went down to Mississippi and Crump went down there where there was a lot of prisoners in the Mississippi prisons. And you know how they operate like plantations down there. So they'll bury you and they'll do something grimy, like they'll charge the family to bury you or something like that. So Crump went down there. He probably brought a couple cameras and whatnot, and then he brings visibility. He's like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. You know they game plan, but they do. The only good thing they do is they bring cameras.
Right.
And the notoriety that you would have never known, because there's some things that's going on in some of these places in the United States against black folks, man, that you would have no idea. You would really think like, okay, they can't do nothing like that. That's something that they would only do back then. They would do that maybe back in the 80s, maybe back in the 50s and in the 30s and stuff like that. And you're like, they can't possibly be doing this, and it's 2024. Yeah. You go to some of them little old towns, and and not even the old towns. They doing this stuff, and it might be right out in the open. I was listening to a program. I think I told you about it a couple times, and it's a brother down in Louisiana, and I used to always hear stories about Louisiana. And the things that I would hear, you would kind of think like, damn, could that possibly be going on? But you don't really hear it. You don't really hear the brutality at the scale that I've heard it. And there's a guy, I think everybody, that's listening, they ought to check this station out. It's on YouTube. There's a brother by the name of G Street News Network. I think I played a little bit of one of his YouTube channels, and I had listened to damn near every video. The stuff that, I know we're a little off subject, but it's we pertinent. We got to discover history. We got to touch history. The way that he explains their prison system and and the government down there, it literally is like going back in time, the way that they handle stuff. And one of the things, because you remember I told you I went down to Louisiana, man, last year, and man, you hear these stories, and the way that the brother kind of breaks this stuff down, this stuff is so damn brutal. You thinking like, man, this shit can't possibly be happening. Like a horror movie or something, bro.
Right.
You hearing some of this stuff like, man, they couldn't have did all that going on. And he was breaking down like, they have a system down there in Louisiana where it's almost like a guarantee, as you being a black man, that you're gonna go to prison down there. They had a story I told you where, and that's why I always rally against the 94 crime bill, Negroes. Oh, you did the time, you need to do the crime, and until it's them. And the thing is, yeah, if you did some foul shit, I think, depending on what you did, I mean, you got to pay for that. The thing is when it's them, they not gonna be saying that. And like there was a case where this brother, he was on his way to work. The brother was on his way to work, and I think I said this maybe a couple months ago, but the brother was on his way to work, bro, and the race soldiers pulled up on him. Hey, there's a crime scene down over here. We think you may be involved. Or I don't know how to, they might have said something to him and said, hey, do you want to come down here and just confirm that it wasn't you or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the brother got, young good kid. He's like, oh, well, I'm on my way to work, but I'm innocent. I ain't do nothing. You want to come down to the crime scene and you want to confirm that you weren't there, blah, 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 and he's like, oh, okay. He got in the car. I would have told him no. They probably would have made him get in the car anyway, but I would have told him no. And I remember you taught me that when we were young. Don't admit shit to them motherfuckers. Tell them no. You know what I'm saying? If they ask you, always say no. Because if they gonna take you, they ain't gonna ask you. I remember you told me that at a young age. You're like, man, if they ask you, do you want to go, or do you want to make a statement, or do you want to, can I be searched? But if they ask you for permission, you always tell them no. Always. You don't never volunteer. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I live by that. Nope. Hey, can we search you? Can we? No, sir, you cannot. Because I know if you're asking me, then you're not gonna do it if I tell you no. But they want to make it look. Yeah, because most
police don't ask if they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't ask. If they just some pure race soldiers, they ain't gonna ask you nothing. Put your hands behind your back. No, I'm not putting. I'm not. Yeah, they're not gonna ask you shit. Well, I ain't putting my hands behind my back, officer. You gonna have to whoop whoop whoop. Okay, well, and we just gonna kick your ass. We might kill you. You know what I'm saying? That's how they get down. They gonna whoop your ass. They gonna whoop your ass, and they might plant something in you or do whatever. Now, getting back to this channel, the brother was basically, he went down there, went to the, and the victim, of course, the victim said, yeah, that was him. They charged that nigga with murder, bro.
Damn.
They charged that young nigga with murder, bro. He was nowhere to be found. Now, the thing is, some people say, well, maybe he could have did it and he could have. Now, the kid was on his way walking to work. He didn't have a car. Turns out what happened is, I think it was a white couple. I'm not sure, but it was a couple. Somebody, the wife got killed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the husband says that they were robbed and all this kind of stuff, but her belongings and their belongings was like 20 miles another way. And the murder that occurred was 20 miles away from the scene. So it's almost as if somebody did something to her and then took the belongings like 15, 20 miles away and scattered them somewhere. They found all her stuff 20 miles away. Now, what would have to happen is the young brother would had walked down the street, unalived the woman. I got to use those terms because when you use the K word, they start to ding you on YouTube. But they unalived the woman. They rolled her out. And that means they would have had to roll her out and take her belongings and drop it off random somewhere. I think they said a crackhead or something found her belongings and reported it to the police. So that means he would have had to walk down the street, be on his way to work, leave his mama house, go to the crime scene, unalive the woman, take her stuff, drop it off 20 miles away, and come back home to get dressed and get ready to go to work. Now, is that physically impossible?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's physically impossible. You couldn't have done that much to do that. But they charged that young dude with murder, bro.
Did he get convicted?
Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure.
Wow.
He got convicted, and when he got convicted, he was raped multiple times, and he killed himself.
It was in New York?
No, Louisiana. So yeah, it was in Louisiana. Now what people think is that the husband, took the wife out, which is probably what happened. You see what I'm saying? So the brother was breaking down a lot of these stories, and some of these, the first couple stories, like when I heard the episodes, I was like, this shit's hard to listen to. Some of this shit was so hard to listen, I had to take a break. Like, oh my gosh, like this couldn't have happened. It was like a movie or something like that. I mean, the guards was doing grimy shit, like they were selling prisoners. They got a thing called a kickback situation down in there, where in Louisiana, man, if you're a prisoner, if you got like triple life, or if you're a booty bandit, or if you get just a problem, they'll take you from one prison and they'll just throw you in another. So if you're like one of them little guys or something like that, man, where you innocent, or whatever the case may be, you in there, you probably shouldn't even really be in there with lifers and stuff like that. They don't really make a differentiation. You see what I'm saying? They don't look at it like, how like up here they'll kind of consider the situation, and if you let's say you stole a candy bar. They're not gonna send you to Oak Park Heights. You see what I'm saying? They're not gonna send you to a level 5 Supermax, or they're not going. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna send you to nothing serious like that. They might send you to, they'll send you to some little mid-level stuff or low-level Faribault or something. They'll send you to they're not gonna send you to no horrible place.
Right.
Louisiana send you anywhere. You might have a year and a half, 2 years, or something crazy, and they might send you in there with murderers and rapists. For real, for real. Like, you don't have a guarantee that you're going to come home. You see what I'm saying? So that's the kind of games that they play down there. They deal off of that old plantation stuff. And you're kind of wondering, well, damn, why is it so savage up in there? Well, you got folks in an extremely poor environment. The food's terrible. The brutality is high. They operate like a plantation. They literally operate like it's a plantation. So, like I say, when I went down there, man, and I went to one of the plantations, it's about maybe 20 miles away from, it's about 20 miles. I drove 20 miles or so, if that, away from New Orleans. And I went on the plantation, and then I seen them conditions and stuff like that. And when you see those correctional facilities down there, but basically with the whole synopsis of this brother's channel, the G Street News Network, what I thought was interesting was the brother, they made what they call an anti-predator crew called the New Jack crew. And what they did was, because it was so many predators in the prison, they formed to protect other inmates. If you didn't owe nobody no money, or if you didn't, involve yourself in borrowing stuff and stuff like that, because, when you go to these institutions and stuff like that, you a young guy, you're not supposed to be accepting nothing from nobody. You don't accept nothing from nobody from jail, man. You don't take somebody want to give you something. You don't accept nothing, because now you own. And if you ain't involved in no jail, in no drug politics, or you ain't involved in no stuff like that where you owe nobody, they would have a group where they'd fight for you. And these guys just want to go home. So they weren't in there to prey on other inmates and stuff. They were there to basically avoid being preyed on and stuff like that. So you'd have a group of dudes, and they were anti-predators. So what they would do is they put work in on booty bandits. That was their whole ideology. If you were a guy, you came in there, you ain't bothering nobody, you minding your own business. And if the predators is trying to do something to you, them niggas will get on the predators' heads. You see what I'm saying? But here's the thing. The guards were predators too. That's the bad part. The guards were predators too, man. The guards they had booty bandit guards, bro. They had guards. They'll have a guard. They'll come in. They'd have a list, and the guard would say, "Well, inmate so and so 10101, come over here." And he's probably just thinking that he's just calling them up for nothing. So he's not really knowing. He's not really thinking. And the guard, they pick like weak inmates. They pick small guys, and they'll say, "Well, come back in this room," and the guy goes. He ain't really thinking nothing of it. So, and then they'll just tell him, "All right, this is what you gonna do." And if they don't do it, the guard will just beat them until they do it. You see what I'm saying? Or they just do something to them. And so that's the guards would be doing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Or the guards might, they might, it might be a dude that got life that's a predator, and he might say, "Hey, that new inmate coming in there, yeah, I like him. Put him in my cell. I'll give you this." And they pay the guards, bro. Like the guards will be bringing in knives. They be bringing in weapons. They be bringing in drugs. This is happening all across the United States. And this dude was exposing a lot of this stuff. And some of them guards got indicted. But that's what's going on in a lot of these correctional facilities. And of course, nobody wants to talk about it because if something happens to somebody in there, they don't want to, you a man, you don't want to talk about nothing that happened to you. That's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So, but this guy has went out on the legs in Louisiana to expose predators, from the prisoners to the prisons. The wardens is something else too, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I implore everybody, man, check that page out if you want some Louisiana history, because this is stuff a lot of people, it's uncomfortable because they don't want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But this is happening to a lot of our brothers and sisters in these places, and a lot of these people are innocent. But it don't matter if you innocent. That's why I always tell you how I go against all the immigrant black caucus and all the old plantation buck dancing niggas. I go hard on them, so hard on this channel, because them niggas that went out of their way to support the 94 crime bill and the old you better vote and you did the crime, you gotta do the time. Them niggas, let me tell you, if the police pulled them niggas over in a place like Louisiana and told them, oh well, yeah, nigga, you did the crime, do you think that if they did that to them and said that they did a crime that they didn't do you think that they gonna be saying, well, yeah, they convicted me, so yeah, I'm supposed to go? Do you think they would do that?
Yeah.
They're not going to say, well, yeah, you just said I did something and then now I gotta go to jail. They gonna be like, man, hell no, man, I didn't do that. I wasn't there. You see?
Of course.
They think a lot of times you have these Negroes that feel like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm immune. That can't happen to me.
No.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. You have situations where dudes was just, look what happened to Khalid Browder and Rikers Island. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have situations where you don't got to do anything wrong. They could just say you did it. And if you ain't got no good lawyer, man, and even if you do, because like I said, bro, they're putting you in facilities, and some of these people are waiting on their trial. It's weird in Louisiana the way he explains it. I'm like, are these prisons they put people in? It's almost like they're putting them. They don't call them county jails. Their counties are called parishes. So it's almost like their jails are, I don't know if they're counties or whatever, but they operate like old school Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption penitentiaries, like some shit from 40 years ago. That's how they're operating. You're in the middle of some rural ass town and all this stuff is going on. Just brutality. 100 degrees, ain't no AC in some of those joints. Like, so, like I say, man, them southern correctional facilities, something else. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, you don't want to be down there, man. And you ain't got no rights. You ain't got no rights, bro. Up here, you got a little rights. You ain't got no rights in the South, bro. When you go to some of them places and when it comes to the court of law, you ain't got no rights. They let you out when they feel like it. No, you a slave. you a slave. You a slave for real.
You're an old slave.
So
real DP, looks like I'm getting a little tired.
Okay, well look, I'm gonna wrap this up and I'm gonna edit it. I think, man, that if he stays out, he should just have his lawyers fight it for a little bit if he comes back into the States. I think that's the smartest thing to do.
I'd pull a Russell Simmons. I just wouldn't come back.
I probably wouldn't either. If they can't extradite me, I'm staying. But they're gonna start squeezing. They're gonna squeeze his sons.
Yeah, somebody's gonna talk, man. He should have took his sons with him wherever he went. He should have left them kids behind. They too young. They got one of them on drinking and hanging out with an underage girl.
Well,
see? He should have took his sons with him because they could scare one of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they're definitely gonna scare me. Yeah, if his sons, they'll crack. If they arrested him, they'll crack. I don't think they arrested him yet, but I think they'll crack.
Yeah, I don't think they arrested anybody, but they might have took him down for questioning.
Yeah, they might have said, they could have said something then.
Yeah, well, or it's not even about. They might have found the evidence they was looking for. They might not even care. They might have found a little girl and asked her what kind of pants was he wearing that day, or what boxers was he wearing. And when it found them boxers, it got the DNA off them. Could be anything.
That's crazy.
You know, but I know this much. Diddy and one of his kids, or if not both of them, is going to have Fed charges.
Yeah, probably within the next week or a couple weeks.
Couple weeks, they're going to go through that evidence. They grabbed a lot of shit out of there.
They might already have some, because like I said, they've been watching it for a long time. They got something already. They just needed more.
Yeah.
So we'll do another one, man, later this week, and we'll look over some of this stuff, and we'll cover some of the things that we weren't able to cover.
You got it, man.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, peace.
Peace. All right, well, politics, tech, and tangibles, you guys. What we're going to do real quick is I wanted to have something about tech. Going off of the subject, of course, but I seen something from the World Economic Forum. And this is artificial intelligence. It talks about the jobs that AI can't replace. Y'all might want to go check that out. Now, on this article by Ian Shine, they talk about AI is unlikely to be able to replace jobs requiring human skills such as judgment, creativity, physical dexterity, and emotional intelligence. As a result, the highest job growth in 2023 to 2027 is expected to be for agricultural equipment operators, drivers of heavy trucks and buses, and vocational education teachers, according to the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2023. So they said here, somebody looked in the chat GPT what jobs will be unable to replace. And they said it will be jobs that require human judgment and decision making, and jobs that require complex and nuanced communication. It also said that AI will not displace jobs that require social and emotional intelligence, creativity and innovation, physical dexterity and mobility. So most of the jobs they got as a survey, they got the bus drivers, of course, teachers, machinery repairs, mechanics, business development professionals, building frame and related trade workers, university and higher trade teachers, electro-technology engineers, sheet and structural metal workers, welders, special education teachers, light truck and delivery service drivers, digital transformation specialists, construction laborers, sustainability specialists, and digital marketing and strategy specialists. So, let's see what else it has. The evolving skills landscape. It mentions something about analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, teaching and mentoring, reading, writing, and mathematics, system thinking, quality control, dependability, attention to detail, multilingualism, programming, global citizenship, sensory processing abilities, AI and big data. So it's looking at businesses are scaling up training programs as skills requirements are disrupted by AI. Let me see what else it says. I'll look into this a little deeper. I'm going to go ahead and post this for you guys. Peace.